Have you ever looked at a payslip in Malaysia and just scratched your head? You're definitely not alone. That term tax residency sounds super formal, but trust me, it's the secret to saving some serious money. So in the next few minutes, we're going to break it all down. Let's get into it.
Okay, first things first. Are you a Malaysian tax resident? Now, this is the big question, and the answer isn't what most people think. It has absolutely nothing to do with your citizenship or what passport you hold. Nope, it all comes down to one thing: how many days you physically spend in Malaysia. That's it.
So why should you even care about this? Well, it's all about your wallet, really. Being a tax resident unlocks a whole bunch of perks that can slash your tax bill. We're talking about personal reliefs, special rebates, and a scaled tax rate that starts at 0%. It's way, way better than the flat rate non-residents have to pay. Getting this right could save you a ton of cash. So yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
To make this super simple, I've laid out a little roadmap for us. First, we'll walk through the main gate. That's the most common way to qualify. Then, we'll check out the side doors, which are for folks in slightly different situations. After that, we'll explore a couple more pathways and finish up with some of the finer details. All right, let's jump in.
Okay, let's start with the main gate. This is hands down the most common, most straightforward way to become a tax resident in Malaysia. And it all comes down to one single very important number.
And that number is 182. Seriously, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this: 182 days. This little number is the absolute cornerstone of Malaysian tax residency. So, how exactly do you count these 182 days? Well, it's actually more flexible than you might think. You just have to be physically here, in Malaysia. But the days don't have to be all in a row. You can pop in and out. And here's a little pro tip. Even just part of a day counts as a whole day. So your arrival day, that's one. Your departure day, that's another. Pretty great, right?
But wait a minute. What if you don't hit that magic 182-day mark? Are you just out of luck? Not at all. That's where the side doors come into play. These are some clever alternative routes for people who don't quite fit that main rule. This is a scenario a lot of people run into. Let's say you were here for, 150 days last year. You missed the main gate. Does that automatically make you a non-resident? Well, not so fast. There's this neat little thing called the linking rule that could totally save the day. The linking rule is, well, it's pretty cool. Basically, it lets your short stay in one year kind of piggyback on a longer stay in the year right before or right after. So if you had a solid block of over 182 consecutive days last year, or you're about to have one next year, your shorter stay this year can get linked to it. And boom, you're a resident for this year too. It shows the system is looking at the bigger picture of your time here.
Now, what does consecutive really mean? If you take a quick trip abroad, does that break the chain? Good news is, no. The rules are surprisingly chill about this. If you have to leave for a business trip, for health reasons, or even just for a vacation that's 2 weeks or less, that time away doesn't break your continuous stay. So feel free to take that short holiday. Your residency status will be just fine.
So we've got the main gate and the side doors. But what if you've been coming to Malaysia for years, but your stays are always a bit shorter? Don't worry, there's still a couple more pathways. Let's dive into the 90-day rules, which are really designed for people who have a consistent history with the country. Okay, this table shows two really interesting rules that are all about your long-term pattern. Let's look at the top one first. This is for if you spend at least 90 days in Malaysia this year. If you did that, and you were also a resident or spent 90 days here in 3 of the last 4 years, then you're in. Now the second one is even more interesting. It's for people who are here for less than 90 days. You can still qualify, but only if you've been a resident for the past 3 straight years, and you're also going to be a resident next year. It's kind of like a loyalty program for people who keep coming back.
And finally, we've arrived at the fine print. There's a very specific set of rules for a very specific group of people, Malaysian citizens who are in public service. Let's see how this one works.
So, if you're a Malaysian citizen and you work for the government or a statutory body, but you're based outside Malaysia, things are really simple. You are automatically considered a tax resident. It doesn't matter how much time you actually spend back home. The same goes if you're a public servant studying overseas and the government is footing the bill. In these cases, you're deemed a resident. It's just the law's way of making sure that people serving the country abroad are still treated like residents for tax purposes.
So that's pretty much it. We've run through the 4 key ways you can become a Malaysian tax resident. You've got the 182-day main gate, the clever linking rule for those shorter stays, the 90-day rules that look at your history, and of course, the special cases for public servants. I know it's a lot, but hopefully this little checklist helps it all click into place.
And there we have it. That was our quick tour of Malaysian tax residency. We've gone through the main gates, the side doors, and all the little pathways in between. It might seem like a complex maze at first, but as you can see, there's a logic behind it all. So the big question I'll leave you with is this. Now that you know the pathways, which one is yours? Figuring that out is your first step to making your finances work for you in Malaysia. Thanks so much for joining me.